Hey folks, it's Ms. Schossler. I wanted to walk you through the assignment number 2, which is a little bit gray and fuzzy if you're reading through those directions trying to make it work in your mind. So I wanted to help you out with that by walking you through it and then showing you an example. So in the syllabus, I would pull out your syllabus first and look through the instructions. It's got a section marked Assignment 2, Summary Table, Levels of Evidence. Here it says it's all based on your PICO question, right? You take that PICO question and you decide, you've already decided what the PICO question topic is, and you go out and find research to support your I, whatever the intervention is in the PICO question. You're looking for 6 research articles, and I would like you to keep in mind these need to be high-level research. We don't want literature reviews, we don't want information papers, we want qualitative, quantitative, mixed method studies or meta-analysis. Those are the types of studies you should be looking for. Out of those 6, you're going to pick 1 to focus on. And all 6 are going to be in this paper, but 1 is going to be at the heart of the paper. So once you have that, your 6 and the 1, then you're going to create this paper. And the paper, I want to warn you now that the instructions here in this syllabus, the instructions don't specifically align with the rubric. Though the information is in both, it's in a different order in both. So I want to tell you it's going to be all right. We will absolutely get through it. In your paper, this is how you want to set your paper up. In the APA paper, we don't use the word introduction. Instead, we use the title of the paper over that introduction section, and it stands in place of the word introduction. So you're going to put your title of the paper over the first section. Then in that first paragraph, you're going to talk about the title, the journal that you found the paper in, the year it was published, and the type of study that you found. This hyperlink has not been working for me. It probably won't work for you, but I will tell you what needs to go in this spot. In the second paragraph or section, you're going to cover the study description. And in that description, you're going to talk about the research question or hypothesis, the study methodology, and the description of the subjects and the sample size. The next section should be about the study findings, and this should be a nice, thorough paragraph about the major findings from the study and the study's limitations. That could be 2 paragraphs or 1, depending on how much information you have. This is really up to you. As long as everything's covered, you will not go over a page limit with me. And then the next section is the rating system. So you have to choose which rating system you want to use. And what we're doing is rating the level of evidence that you read about. So each one of your studies should be rated something according to whichever scale you choose to use. So you're going to talk about the scale you chose to use and the level of evidence that the study was. And then you need a table of evidence. That table of evidence will contain all 6 of the research studies. Now remember, you might be working as hard as you can to get this done and might not get all 6 articles in there. It'll be okay. You'll get less points for having less than 6, but you'll still have a good portion of your work done because you're going to need this information as you go into the next assignment. Okay, so remember, high-level evidence, we want 6 research studies if at all possible, qualitative, quantitative, mixed methods, or meta-analysis, and the one that's going to be the heart of this paper should probably be quantitative, qualitative, or maybe mixed methods. Stay clear of the meta-analysis, though you can have it in your table. Don't use it as the heart of the study, heart of the paper, because you won't be able to meet all the rubric criteria using a meta-analysis. Okay, so here's just a picture of what your table might look like. Remember, you're going to have a body of your paper, and you will also include a table as an appendix in this assignment. The table will have all 6 of your articles in it. It will be found, you will place it after the reference page in your paper. And this is an example of how you could set those columns up, and the information in the table does get graded according to the rubric. Okay, here's the rubric, and this is where the gray and fuzzy comes in, because the rubric does not specifically and clearly align with in the same order as the directions that I just told you. So remember, you're going to have, as long as you have the information in there, and I can find it in one of those places, we're going to be just fine. So the rubric says you're going to earn points for discussing the title, the type of study, the research question, and the methods for all of the articles you chose. But we like you to follow down along the rubric as you're writing your paper so you can see that right away it is out of order. So remember, the title, the type of study, the research questions, and the methods, those are all found in the table as well. So it's all going to be in the table at the end of the paper, and one article you're going to talk about all the way through the body of the paper. So as long as you have this information for all of your studies somewhere in the paper, you'll be good. And then the study description. The description of the study discusses sample size, participants, clearly and succinctly. So this is also in the directions that I just read you, sample size and participants, but it's not in the same place as it's talked about in the rubric. So here, the sample size is up under the first paragraph for the study description. So again, as long as you have it in there, first paragraph, second paragraph, it will be just fine. Then the references, so this contains more than 5 references, that's your cutoff. If you have 6, so more than 5, 6 references, you earn the highest points in that section, and anything under that depends on how many you have as to how many points you get. And then organization and writing, it's well organized. This is the standard blurb for an APA paper, so make sure you spell check and put things in APA format. The last section is study findings. The paper has an outstanding discussion of each study's major finding as presented in the AACN's level of evidence. So this again applies to both the table and the body of the paper. So discussion of the study's major findings. So in this example of our table, the major findings are in the last column. So if you use this format, you'll have that information in there. And then the findings for that one particular article we're going to talk about in the body of the paper. So a little bit discombobulated as far as directions compared to rubric order, but it will be absolutely fine. If you have any questions about any of that, just let me know. So I want to show you a sample of a paper that you can absolutely use for assignment 2. This is the sample cover page. If you've never used a sample paper, you're welcome to save this one as your own and use it in the future if you like. So as we jump into the paper, you see the title of the paper goes over the first section. It stands in the place of the word introduction. It does not get bolded. And in the first paragraph, according to the directions, you're going to put the title of the article, the journal that it was found in, the year it was published. You also have the type of study you're looking at. And by that I mean qualitative, quantitative, or mixed methods. Remember to avoid meta-analysis for this particular section, or for this particular article that you chose as the heart of this study, of this paper. So you might write something that sounds like this. The research article chosen for review was titled blank. The study was published in the journal of blank in the year blank. And then Smith and Jones employed a qualitative phenomenological approach to the study, and I'd end my citation there. So there I have all the information that I need in that first section built into that first paragraph as an example. And then study description. Again, in the directions you see a little bit of difference between where the sample size information should fall. Either place, it's okay if you put it in the first paragraph, second paragraph, it'll be fine. In this study description section, I talk about really what an APA format is and what it should look like, what's bolded, what's not bolded. And so I also talk about the fact that you need your research question in this section. According to the directions, the research question goes in the first paragraph. Again, okay with me if you put it in the first or the second paragraph of your paper or section, because you're welcome to have more than one paragraph, up to you. So research question needs to be in there as well. This is, you should consider this a critique really of the one chosen article. So when you're critiquing something, if there's something missing from the paper that you're supposed to critique, you need to say it's missing. Otherwise it looks like you didn't know it was supposed to be there. So in this section we're critiquing the research question. So for a research question or a hypothesis, either one, if neither is present, then you would have to say that. While a research question is not present in this article, a possible research question the authors could use is, and then state the research question. Make one up, because you should have the skill to do that now that you're skilled at PICO questions and research. So if you have a research question listed in your paper, tell us what it is. You can quote it. And remember, if you use a quotation, the citation for a quotation includes page numbers. And then if they don't have a research question but they have a hypothesis, tell us what that is. And if they have neither, tell us they had neither, and then tell us what an appropriate research question or hypothesis would be for this study. And then I also put information there about the methods used for the study, the data collection methods used for the study. So you can read through that, and if you have any questions about what I put in those paragraphs or what order you should put it in, please feel free to contact me. Next we have study findings. That should be a nice, thorough paragraph about the findings, summarized or paraphrased from the study. Don't use a lot of quotes, but summarize or paraphrase the study findings, because that's telling the reader that you understood what you're reading. That's really what it's about. Are you learning from what you get from this class and previous classes? Did you understand the research findings? So tell us what those findings are, and then also in this section you want to tell us about limitations. Again, you want to look up what limitations are if you're unfamiliar with that terminology, and it's easy to Google limitations found in research studies, and then read your study and say, okay, did the author tell me what limitations are, and if not, what do I think the limitations would be for this study? You could make 2 paragraphs or 1 out of that. Then the rating system. In this section you have to choose a rating system for levels of evidence. There's tons of them out there, believe me. I gave you one example here. So you're going to describe the rating system that you chose, where it came from, who authored it, and then you're going to tell us what it's divided into, how many categories are there in the rating system, and then you're going to rate the article that you just read. So I gave you a little bit of an example there from John Hopkins Nursing Evidence-Based Practice and Quality Guide, so you could see that one. But this is such an easily Googleable topic. Here's an example. If you Google it, you're going to see all these great examples from the pyramid, the level of evidence pyramid, that shows you systematic reviews, meta-analysis systematic reviews up here, with background expert opinion at the very bottom, and the aim is to get to the top, right? So now you've seen an example of how you can get levels of evidence. Then you're going to choose the level of evidence for your particular article that you chose. Tell us why you think it is that level of evidence. And again, don't use first person there. Use scholarly voice and tell us why it falls into that category. And then, oops, where did my sample paper go? It's hiding behind us. So once you have that information for the chosen article, then you have to go do it as well for your articles that are in the table, because you need the rating scheme for those as well. So now you've got your references. Remember, all 6 of your references are also going to go in the reference page. And if you have any additional references, they go there as well, just like any other paper you write. Just make sure you also include, so your references should be in the table, not as a full reference, but as authors' names and year and location, and then they should be in the full reference list as well. Then after the reference list, I know that sounds weird to put something after the reference page, but that's where your appendix goes, and that appendix is your table for this paper. And I just put a little direction there to remind you what to fill out, and this is just the sample from the syllabus, so you can see what you would do is just keep going downward, so each article would be present there. Articles do not need to be in alphabetical order here. They can just be placed in any order or in the order that you found them. It doesn't matter. Or if you like to have things in alphabetical order, that's absolutely okay too. Remember to include your main study in this list as well, so it has all 6. Okay, that's it. I know that's a lot of information, but I know that the instructions are a little unclear because they seem to contradict each other on location of some of the information. So I wanted to just point out and give you an example If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. 803-608-8069.